right, let's have a little story time here. Okay, but first, before story time, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get notified of videos. After the video, get on my email list. There's no spam or ads, and I can start sharing content with you that I cannot have on YouTube because of the censors. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm gonna read you a email coaching somebody had sent me. It's kind of broad, so I needed clarification for a specific situation, but we'll just get into what he initially sent and kind of dissect it. This kind of stuff is good because it'll help you with your situation. A lot of times when someone has questions or problems, they're not the only person with that problem, right? Like, these are common problems that a lot of guys run into. So yeah, this will help you with your game and help you with your handling of women, and in this case, dating and women, right? So my client writes, Paul, I was wondering if you could help me out. I have been striking out on the last 3 dates I have been on. These women seem interested, and I do all the right stuff to set the date up that you advised. I don't overtext and set the date just like you teach. I pick an upscale, a nice place for dinner or drinks in the evening during the week. I'm gonna stop right there just because, all right, I don't teach necessarily to go out for dinner on a first date. It's not that dinner's a bad thing to do. I need to stop this and clarify some things. You said it's like what I teach, but there's a couple of caveats here, okay? So you want a woman to have genuine desire for you and what you bring to her, which is basically that alpha experience, okay? That's what you want. And when I say alpha experience, I mean a good time with a strong man. That's what you're providing a woman, okay? And so you don't want to get into it. You have to always set it up so she is qualifying to you. If you're a high value man, you should have a lot of options with women. Now, some of you guys don't see yourself as high value yet, and therefore you don't have the options that you should have yet, okay? That doesn't mean now that you start acting like a man who doesn't have options, all right? And it's not so much a fake it until you make it thing. It's that you don't have options because of things you're doing that's wrong, but that doesn't make you low value, if that makes sense. You're high enough value, or you have all the tools to be high enough value in the future if you work on certain things in order to have lots of options with women. No matter how down and out you are, no matter how low sexual market value you think you are as a man, I promise you, you have all of the material within you right now to change that. So what that means is that you're a catch for somebody, okay? Even if you don't see yourself as such. So you need to behave as such, and you need to not look at a pretty girl that you're going out with as someone that you need to try to earn. You need to try to set the conditions up where she is earning you. So you're not necessarily doing expensive things and lavish things and impressive things that should be reserved to somebody who is those things are reserved for somebody who's worthwhile. Okay, someone you've been dating for a while, someone who has proven themselves that they're not a piece of crap. Okay, and so a new girl you just met, I don't even do dinner because I don't know that I want to sit there that long with her through dinner. I don't know that she is somebody that I want yet. And that's how you have to approach it. That doesn't mean go to a trashy place or have some real hard, fast rule. I'm not going to spend any money on her. It's not a big deal if you buy a drink or two. It's not a big deal. But go someplace that is low pressure. That's the other part. When you take a girl to dinner and you go to a nice place, she feels pressured because she doesn't know you, and now you're spending money on her, right? And so she doesn't want to feel the pressure or the weight of that. You know, that she has to like you, or she's taking advantage of you, using you. I mean, that's the thing. She doesn't want to feel obligated to you. And a lot of guys will take a girl out to a nice place and then think, okay, you're obligated to like me. That's beta mindset, right? And of course, she's not obligated to like you at all. And so you don't want to set up anything that would create that discomfort. You want to set up a situation where it's a relaxed atmosphere where she can appreciate your company for you and who you are, which is that having a good time with a, in the presence of a dominant masculine person, right? Or masculine man, right? That's what you're providing for her. So that means drinks, coffee, something real chill, real low impact. Now, what I do teach is that, okay, let's say you're having drinks with a girl and it's going really well. You want to change, you want to continue that evening. You don't want to end it in an hour or less, because you're now vetting her and she seems pretty cool. And her arousal and attraction for you seems high enough, and she's gravitating towards you. So maybe you're like, hey, let's order some food, or let's go to, you know what, let's get out of here. Let's go. I'm actually hungry. Are you hungry? Let's go get some food, spend more time together. You see what I mean? You can do that then, and now you do location changes, maybe a couple of them, and then it's a full experience for her. But you always reserve the ability to end that encounter in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if she turns out to be somebody that is not worth your time and effort. And that's how you have to approach it. It's not just being stingy or being, extra frugal or anything like that. It's respecting who you are as a man, respecting your time. And if you approach it with that mindset, then they will mirror that and respect and see you as a man that is worthy of respect. Okay, unless they have a problem, and if they have a problem, then you know to end it early. So that's actually what I teach. All right, now back to what he wrote. So on the date, things seem to go okay, but nothing to write home about. I try to keep conversations light, and I stay away from controversial stuff or things that would be upsetting, given everything that's going on right now. Things go pleasantly, but they just don't seem that excited. Things are more awkward and guarded, and I just don't know how to get her out of that first date awkwardness. There has been no kiss or anything physical with these girls because they're just first meetups and they're over in maybe 2 hours. And then I just get blown off for setting any additional dates with them. It makes me want to overtext or try to build something on Messenger to get them out again, but I don't think that's the right answer. Do you have any tips or ideas? I could really use your help because this seems to happen way too often. Okay, yes, I do have tips or ideas, in fact. All right, so let's break this down. So he says he tries to keep, let's kind of analyze. I'm going to look at the subcontext of what he's saying here. He's saying he's keeping conversations light and staying away from controversial stuff. He's worried about upsetting her. So what is he worried about? He's worried about what he's saying, right? Don't worry about what you are saying, all right, to a degree. Are there topics that you want to maybe not breach because why cause an argument on a first encounter? Sure. But who gives a crap? Honestly, who gives a shit? Like, who cares, dude? Who cares? Why do you care that much about her opinion? Honestly, I know it sounds terrible, but it's not terrible because who you are is a person with these opinions, right? I mean, I don't know. I've had plenty of women who were raging feminists. They didn't care about that in the bedroom, okay? But they certainly weren't going to be long-term partners for me because I'm not a raging feminist. So there is a value difference there. And aren't you supposed to be vetting? So who gives a crap? Now, does that mean you lead with your, idea or topic of the day that you got off of social media that everyone's arguing about? No, you shouldn't. If you're following my stuff, then you shouldn't be caring about that stuff either, right? That's crap, So focus on things that are fun and easy to talk about, but don't be so worried about what she thinks or says. So what I'm gathering here is that you are trying to be neutral, all right? Trying to be neutral, you're trying to be nice, you're trying to not piss her off, you want to keep everything light and nice and fun and all this, but here's the problem: there's no sexual tension there. So usually what happens if it's a nice, light, fun, whatever time, it's not that fun for her. She's struggling. There's no emotion there. It's like a meeting, you know? It's like a casual a get-together with no sexual tension. And so when a girl is blowing you off and just not interested in the callback, it's because there isn't enough sexual tension built. The reason there's not enough sexual tension built is because you're not treating her like a sexual object, okay? She wants a dominant man to treat her like a sexual being. She's not there to be your buddy, okay? So beta game is to try to be your buddy, to try to be your friend, and to not piss her off, and to be the nice guy, and then to hope that you can transition that into a sexual relationship. That is not the way to go. That rarely works well. And that lacks the confidence and resolve of the dominant man that she's looking for. So have fun, funny, cool, whatever conversations. Ask a lot of questions. You should be curious. You should always approach a first encounter with curiosity. That's the mindset you want to have, is curiosity. You're there to learn. There to learn about her. What's she all about? Is she worth a crap? What am I going to learn from this experience? That should be your mindset. Not, I don't want to upset her. I better stay away from that topic. I better not piss her off. I want her to like me. You see the difference? The way you frame your mind, it's called internal game. The way you frame your mind when you go into these encounters will permeate through your actions and your words. And so you can't just fake that stuff unless she's drunk and at some club and you got some weird pickup artistry advice on how to pick up drunk girls at the club who can't pick up on your subcontext, all right? But if you're out with a chick and you're vetting her for plate status, we'll call it, or regular girl in your roster status, which is all she should be until she earns her place in your life, right? Through her actions, behavior, and who she is. You need to approach this as if you're learning and curious about her. And that's going to be a non-judgmental frame where you can ask a lot of questions. You're not afraid of what you're going to say. You don't give a crap if you upset her because you mentioned something that is a trigger for her. Who cares, right? Who cares? And you can laugh it off. You're light, you're fun, and you're just having fun, okay? You have fun with her, have a sense of humor about everything, but you're curious. That is the frame you want to approach it with. And then you want to escalate things sexually. You want to demonstrate sexual desire, but you don't want to, but she has to earn your interest. All right, there's a difference between sexual desire and interest in her as a person that is something more than that. Okay, so you don't want to act like her friend, like the nice guy, the pleasant person. You want to act like someone who's sexually interested in her, and that means that you have that body language. You do what's called kino. They call it kino, which stands for kinesthetic or whatever, which means it's a pickup word, but it means that's the light touching, touch your hand. Should be a sexual connotation that you're exuding when you're interacting with her. That doesn't mean being creepy or gropey, okay? Because you should be paying attention to how she is interacting with you to recognize whether she's gravitating towards or away from you. And there's a lot of body language things and a lot of context and subcontext to how she says words and how she speaks to you that will tell you if she's gravitating towards or away from you. If you have questions on that, ask them in the comments. I will do another video. If you don't ask me, or if you don't ask to coach with me, I won't do them because I'll assume you know. Okay? But there's signs she'll give that will tell her she's attracted, aroused, interested. You escalate those things. You're not escalating on these dates. You're trying to be cool, keep it cool, have fun. And what you're doing is you're being the good guy. Okay? You're giving the nice guy vibe, the good guy vibe. And she has an okay time, but she's just not that excited about you. And then she leaves, and she's just not that interested in pursuing, trying to earn your time again, because she just doesn't see you as the sexual option that she thought you might be when she agreed to go out with you in the first place. Understand, if she agreed to go out with you in the first place, unless you presented led with money or success or status or something different, if she, try to lure in, whatever, which I don't recommend actually. I recommend you have those things and you do those things, but I don't recommend you lead with that, because you want genuine desire, not just desire for a transactional relationship, right? Otherwise you just pay for hookers, right? So you don't lead with those. You lead with, who you are as a man, and game and communication and communicating interest to her. She's out with you for a reason, and some part of her, or hopefully a large part of her, thinks that you're a good sexual option for her. You are discounting yourself on these dates because you're not communicating your sexual interest. And again, I don't mean necessarily being blunt to telling her you want to bang her, although sometimes that is the right answer and the totally appropriate thing to do, depending on the context of the conversation, how things are going. That being said, though, I mean just in how you speak, how you interact, your sub-communication, starting off with some push-pull, with some little light touching, whatever. If she doesn't gravitate, she doesn't. But if she does, then to escalate that a little more. You're telling me you're not trying to kiss them at the end of the date because they're not interested. But guess what? You should be escalating to where she is interested and sexually interested. She was at one point, or she wouldn't be on this date with you. At least that's what you should assume. So you need to learn how to better escalate in a sexual sense so that you are at least kissing even after a 1 hour encounter. You're walking her to her car, you fucking slide in deliberately, not suddenly, like you're gonna grab her face, and then you go for that kiss at the end, right? And I know some people advise not to do that, but I don't think they're correct. All right, so it's not qualifying to a woman to indicate sexual interest. Interest in her beyond a sexual object, though, that's the qualifying part. That's the part that she has to earn. So, think about that for a minute. She knows that if she's hot, okay, even if she's not that hot, even if she's average, she has plenty of dudes who are interested in her sexually. And if you're on a date with her, she knows you should be interested in her sexually, right? So if you're not escalating things, at least in demonstrating sexual interest, then the assumption is that you don't have the courage to do that. Well, if you don't have the courage to do that, right, then you're weak, right? Why would she want to be with you? Hypergamy says she needs to find the man that's better than she is and her best sexual genetic option. You are disqualifying yourself as that if you take a girl on a date, you have sexual interest, and she's done nothing to overtly turn you off, or you end that date in 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So you're trying to keep things going, and you're interested in what, you're trying to have this conversation, you're trying to have a good date with her, and then you don't demonstrate any sexual interest. That demonstrates a lack of courage, okay? And that will turn her off, all right? So she knows you're sexually interested because she's not stupid. You asked her out, and even if you try to act like you're not, it doesn't work, because women are good at picking up on this stuff. So when she knows that you're sexually interested and you don't demonstrate that interest with courage, she'll assume that you're a little bitch and she's not going to be interested in continuing with you. This is why generally, depending on how things go, you do go for the kiss. This is why generally you escalate with a little bit of physical contact. And again, not gropey stuff, but with a little bit of sexual connotation. And having conversations that are conversations you would have that you, with a romantic partner, someone you're interested in sexually, not conversations you would have with some chick who's your friend or a buddy. Okay? And so that's what you have to do. You're being the nice guy, dude. You're being the nice guy, and you're being the neutral guy that doesn't want to upset her, wants to be the good guy. She'll think you're a great guy. How many women do you think I've talked to who, whether they're out with me or whether they're just out with whatever, right? And they say, oh, I went out with that guy once, or, it just wasn't it. He's a really nice guy. He's a really cool guy, but I don't know. I'm just not interested in him. He's just whatever. He didn't do it for me. And she just discounts him as any kind of a sexual option. You want to know how many times it's happened? A ton of times. And guaranteed, these three that you mentioned are doing exactly that, because probably, without a lack of any additional info here, you're not escalating right. So, moral of the story is you got to learn how to escalate sexually. Okay? You have to learn how to do that on a date. If you don't, you need me to coach. Then this is what we're going to coach. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Because I have to take you as a person step by step. I can do more videos on game and pickup and stuff like that. If people ask for them, they got to put that in the comments. All right, and we can get into that stuff, and I can help you with the game stuff. But bottom line is, whether you learn it from me or whether you learn it through trial and error or somebody else, you have to learn this stuff. Right now, you're conveying a message that isn't the right message. And that's why these girls who were interested in you are no longer interested after the date. Okay, you're turning them off between beginning and the end of that encounter. And most likely, by the sounds of things, you're a pleasant, cool person to hang out with that just isn't there's somebody they want to be sexual with. And that is because of what you're conveying with your subcommunication. And you're too fearful to convey your interests, all right? And again, it's not qualifying to a woman. She has to qualify to you, but she has to earn your time, your energy through her behavior, but you can still indicate sexual interest when she's earning that by being in this encounter with you and having a pleasant exchange with you. Does that make sense? Hopefully, all right? So, any additional questions, ask them. But bottom line is, when you go on a first encounter or date or whatever with a girl, there's some exceptions to this, but generally speaking, convey sexual interest. I should say convey sexual desire, but she has to earn your interests otherwise. All right? That's the alpha way of handling this stuff. Thanks again for tuning in and the support. You know what to do with the like button.